Live at Lunch is brought to you by FOCO MA, the Fort Collins Musicians Association.
Dedicated to creating greater recognition of local talent in the Fort Collins music scene.
The association plans workshops, concerts, and events.
More information is available at focoma.org.
This is KRFC Fort Collins, and our next program is Live.
We know how to rock.
Live at Lunch today in the studio, Marcy Stonecipher.
Thanks. So this first song I'm going to play for you is called I Am Down.
I'm headed for change, but you're going the wrong way. Can't stop for directions. Now I'm wandering blind. And did you know I was down for this? Did you know I was down for this? But I'm still down for this. Did you know? The sun is warm. I'd have met you early, and I slept through the alarm. We will start the day, but we're already running late. So you take my hands, and we make our way. And you say you don't feel it anymore. And you say you don't feel it anymore. We can't turn back now. We're holding pieces of each other. Should have seen the signs when we first began. And you say you don't feel it anymore. And you say you don't feel it anymore. Did you know I was down for this? Did you know I was down for this? That I'm still down for this. Did you know? Did you know? Did you know?
Marcy Stonecipher, geologist extraordinaire.
Correct.
And while we're at it, we'll go, marcystonecipher.com is your website.
It is.
So you were lucky enough to get your name, Stonecipher, many of them?
There's not, although there's a couple of other ones in Fort Collins, and I am not related to them
Wow.
directly.
That's unusual.
It is sort of strange.
There's only one other person in the country with my name.
Really?
Yes.
Excellent.
And it's Marcy, M-A-R-C-Y. You were mentioning that earlier. Is there another spelling?
You can do M-A-R-C-I or M-A-R-C-I-E, or there's been other weird stuff that people have done, but it's just M-A-R-C-Y.
Okay, so you're a Y.
I am.
And a where and a what. Anyway, the song I Am Down was upbeat. So is that to compensate?
Probably.
No, usually I am down is
Yeah,
sort of
it's
depressed.
It is. So it was more of a I'm down with that. Like, hey, you want to go do that? Sure, I'm down with that. It was.
Oh,
it's sort of
I'm okay with it,
Yeah,
so to speak.
yeah,
Oh, it's
so-
a new. Is that? Does anybody else say that?
probably not anymore. I think that was something that
I've
people
never
were
heard
saying
of
a
it,
while
so-
ago. It's a little bit confusing.
The other thing we're going to talk about everything in the first segment, and that is you are coffee house rock, and that was
Yes.
fairly typical. We'll call it your last one of what that means. So as I said earlier, it's not heavy metal,
No, it is definitely not.
but it isn't country.
It's not country, and I feel like folk or acoustic
Mm-hmm.
is too broad. Like you don't really get a sense of it's like, okay, anything can be acoustic
Right.
if you've not plugged in. So I felt like coffee house rock was descriptive, that you could go to a coffee house and the expectation that's set there, and it's not not hard rock, it's not country, as you said. So it seemed like a good description at the time.
So it's harder country or harder folk. It's towards the anyway. We'll let you demonstrate it,
Absolutely.
and well, we could do your CD. I'm going to give you a hard time though,
Okay.
because I think it's titled "Live from the Living Room."
It is, and the reason why we went with that is because when you play the CD, it's just me and the guitar, and so it's if I were playing in your living room,
Right.
that's what it would sound like. It was actually recorded in Franklin Taggart's basement. So, but to set the expectation,
Yeah.
if I were to play in your living room, that's what you're getting on the CD.
Do you do your own website updating?
I do.
Excellent. So I'm going to tell the audience, please check out the website, marcystonecipher.com, and read the title, which says Live Form the Living Room. And it's about time that you change that.
Yes. Actually, my aunt texted me this morning.
Right.
She said, this is wrong. And I was like,
Right.
crap.
Well, we're not supposed to correct you on air necessarily, but you have a good sense of humor, so I figured I could stretch the envelope.
Yes. Well, you got to laugh at yourself a little bit. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that mistypes from and form.
Oh,
So it
spell
happens.
check doesn't do any good. That's my
I
problem.
know. Yeah.
Maybe yours. Back to the music.
Okay. So I'm going to play for you. I didn't come with a set list. I'm just looking at my CD and I'm
Right.
going with the flow here. So what I'm going to do is a song called If You're Leaving. And this is a song about devotion, basically.
Leaving again tonight. We said no more goodbyes, but that takes time. And even though I can function without you, it doesn't mean I want to. Just because people say I'm crazy, it doesn't mean I listen. It doesn't mean I listen, no. So if you're leaving, I will be right behind, right behind. So if you're leaving, I will be right behind, right behind you. chatting. I've weighed the pros and the cons, and in every answer I found, in every answer I see you, I see you. So if you're leaving, I will be right behind, right behind. So if you're leaving, I will be right behind, right behind you. Just because I can function without you, it doesn't mean I want to. It doesn't mean I want to. No, no. So if you're leaving, I will be right behind, right behind. So if you're leaving, I will be right behind, right behind you. I'll be right behind. Oh, baby, I will be right behind.
Live at lunch, Marcy Stonecipher. Cipher. You see, I knew
Stonecipher.
I'd do that because the guy, I'm such a long name. After Stone, you're a cipher.
I am.
And we'll just do the .com is right after that to get to the
.com.
website.
Yes.
And the CD we referred to live from the living room brings up the Friday, June the 28th, this Friday in
Yes.
Loveland at the Ale Works, your CD release party.
It is. This is my first CD, and I'm totally excited for the CD release party. My parents are coming in. It's going to be just a big party. Aleworks has great beer.
Right.
It should just be a lot of fun.
Yeah, the name Ale Works kind of gives it all away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's, you even give the address. They're on
do.
4th Street. They're 118 West. That's in the main block, isn't it?
It is. So
Almost next to the Rialto?
it's actually on the west side of the tracks. It's a couple blocks down from the
okay.
Rialto. So it's on the main street. You just have to go a wee bit further west. Just a
Did
wee
they
bit.
start the numbering in the east and west then on the southbound 287? That's interesting.
I think the dividing line, the railroad. I think the railroad tracks
the
on
railroad?
east and west, and I think Eisenhower is north and south. I think is how that
Okay.
goes.
Well, anyway, people can find it 7:30 to 9:30, and you'll be the performer
Absolutely.
and signing CDs and
Yes.
what do you do? Have a party, of course.
I don't really know. I'm going to go and I'm going to play, and
Right.
if people are enjoying the music, then
Right.
they can grab a CD if they want. And I now have them available for download digitally. I just set
Right.
that up last night. So
Okay. And the nice thing about your listing of venues, et cetera, is that you put KRFC on there today.
absolutely, I
And
did
we
it last
we
night.
like that. It happens maybe, I don't know, 2/3 of the time.
Oh, really?
But people tend to think performance, and of course this is one,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
meaning a venue, which is this one is. Mm-hmm. So I'm not confusing anybody.
Yeah.
But thank you.
I made a Facebook event. I invited people. Like I think I did
To
that
listen.
yesterday morning. Yeah, to listen. I
Because
sent out the
nobody
link.
came to the studio.
Well, yeah, nobody came to the studio, but I know people. I lived in Texas, got my degrees in
Okay.
Texas. I've got relatives in Illinois, so hopefully all of you people in different places are
Right.
listening. So I sent the links out. I was totally
Yeah.
excited to come in today. I'm totally thrilled.
You told them about
I did.
krfcfm.org. If you remember, the org is instead of the com.
Well, all I did was copy and paste. So
Yeah.
it
It should
didn't
be
even
there.
occur to me that there was a com versus an org. So.
Well, when I'm in a hurry, I can't find the website because I'm .comming 100%.
oh
Cut and paste is even better.
yes,
It popped into my head that you said plural degrees
degrees.
as
I
a
do.
geologist. So masters?
I do have a master's.
Yes.
and rocks.
And do you head west all the time to go look at rocks?
No, I don't work with real rocks anymore. I work from my house, and what my company does, we basically take electrical pictures of the subsurface. So I do a lot of 3D modeling, and I put report figures together, and geologists really know how to rock, but people take us for granted a lot. Of quartz, that would happen.
I did catch that. Of quartz, that would happen.
And granite, getting taken for granite.
You're taken for
Granite,
granite?
there's
All right.
yeah.
I'm repeating them just in case anybody's missing them.
Right, they might have to type. Granite's a rock type, quartz
Right.
is a mineral. Geologist rocking,
Right.
that's pretty obvious.
Mineral and rock. Mm-hmm. We'll
Get it all
come
in
back
there.
and ask you what the difference is. But we want
can
more
tell you.
music, so...
Okay, so this is a song called Timer. If the CD had a single, this would probably be it. So I hope you enjoy it.
The sand is running over. Grain by grain, our time is running out. And there's no way to stop it now. But if I could, I would love you the best that I know how. Wouldn't hold back anything. Wouldn't build any walls to keep you out. If I time would run it out. I know that there's some lesson to be learned. I just can't see the forest for the trees. I don't know how to watch you go, but if I did, I would love you the best that I know how. Wouldn't hold back anything. Wouldn't build any walls to keep you out. If I time would run it out. I don't know how to make this make sense. I don't know how to make this make sense. Was it just a dream? Are you just a dream? I would love you the best that I know how. Wouldn't hold back anything. Wouldn't build any walls to keep you out. If I time would run it out. Life on a timer is no way to live. Life on a timer is no way to live. If our time weren't, I would love you. If our time would run it out. Oh,
Marcy Stonecipher, got it that time. Yes. I was thinking about the difference between a mineral and a rock, and I decided that a mineral is probably a purified form of something that's a minor component of the surface of the earth, and a rock is a big piece.
Kinda. So, and I'm going to screw up. This is going to be sort of like naming the seven doors. So a mineral, it's got four things. It's got a stable chemical composition, an orderly atomic arrangement.
Right.
I think I said specific.
Well, let me interrupt just a moment.
Yeah.
Gold, if we take gold, for example, that it fits all this because it's just gold.
Right, yes.
So a nugget.
It's actually an element besides
element.
being
Right.
like a mineral.
I'm a chemist, so you can tell me.
Oh, yes, this is exciting. I minored in chemistry. I don't remember much from
Right.
it. And then a rock is basically one or more minerals stuck together. So you can have like a rock that's made out of mostly quartz. It's got a big aerial extent.
Right.
So, yes.
The follow-up question, which has always puzzled me, if we take coal, that's because trees fell down in a particular area and then went down and got compressed. So we probably all know that coal is because of trees. But what makes, say, gold or any other mineral come together when it's such a small percentage of the Earth's crust?
So, okay. When you have magma, let's say you've got
Yeah.
a volcano and there's magma
Right.
sitting down there. So things start, I don't, this is stuff that I haven't talked about in a long time. So I think there was something called like fractional distillation where stuff
Yeah,
starts to
fair
come
enough.
together.
Fair enough.
And
yeah.
so like you've got feldspars and that starts forming. And then you've got, once you've got all your like normal things like your feldspar and your quartz and your micas or whatever, and they're kind of all forming, you've got this sort of reject liquid that it doesn't necessarily fit into the structure of
Right.
other things. So like gold or silver or like barrels have weird, it's like aluminum, boron, silicate, something
Yeah,
or
yeah.
other. I don't remember. So,
But I like that explanation because, first of all, magma is underground lava.
Yes.
It's all very hot and mixed up. And most people would perhaps know that gasoline becomes gasoline because you fractionate or distill or separate the fractions of it. So the answer is it forms in the liquid state underground. Then when it gets spewed out, you get little nuggets of gold all over the place.
it doesn't necessarily have to be spewed out per se. So you can, maybe volcano is a bad description.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You can have an emplacement of magma in other places.
Right.
And so instead of it coming to the surface, it spends time cooling underground.
Underground.
And you can also have hydrothermal type areas where you've got hot water coming up, and as it's coming up through the lower layers,
Right.
it's dissolving things. And so then it can deposit things like gold or silver in other places once the water kind of cools down and comes up. And
This is exciting. Everybody's going to be out there looking for gold after this in your backyard, the little tiny pieces that came from the volcano, but the majority of it, you're right.
yeah,
is-
it's not really so much a volcanic sort of thing.
No, I
It was
know.
just most people associate like lava with volcanoes, so
Right.
I thought I'd go with the immediate
Yeah.
thing that people can relate to. So
Well, we'll come back to the fact. Well, let's do it now. July the 9th is the time after
Yes.
your release party. Same place.
also at Aleworks,
Different time, 5:30 to 8:30. And I noticed from your website the address doesn't change,
No, which is good.
which
They're
is
in the
very
same
good.
spot.
If you
They don't
can
move.
find it the first time, you can find it the second time.
Yes.
And then July the 26th, which is, I guess, 4 weeks on Friday. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Or Saturday?
Yeah.
Pulcinella's. Now, that's back in Fort Collins on Drake.
It is. It is. It's, I think, Drake and Shield. So I'm actually from Loveland. I live in Southwest Loveland. So the Loveland gigs are easy for me to get
Right.
to, which I like. And then, but Fort Collins is where people tend to come and
Yeah.
enforce and listen to music. So I'm
That's-
trying to get more up here
Right.
and play around. So if
This
you're,
is the music scene up here, isn't it?
yeah. And Loveland's got some awesome musicians, but it's just, it seems like there's more
The
volume
venues,
of it
I
up
should
here.
say,
Yeah.
yeah.
The venues for
All
sure.
the good musicians live in Loveland.
Of course. No, I shouldn't actually say that. That's not true. There's this whole area is just,
Yeah, teeming.
it's like gold nuggets of musicians up here.
Spewed out in the lava. And
Right.
moving right along, you are about to play.
I am. I'm going to play you a sad song.
Oh. Well, I can handle it, maybe.
This is the saddest song I've ever written, but there's a lesson here. So it's one of those things where you have an epiphany and you're sort of discovering what you need and don't need. And this is a song about, not only is it sad, but it's really about these are the things that I need and that I want, and this is something that I can't handle right now. So this is called Loved This Way.
I took for granted that you mean what you say when you say love, I apply it to my own way. seem to care. I don't wanna be loved this way. I don't wanna be loved this way. The contradiction of those words and the way you act makes a confusing space to occupy. And if your love means you'll never there and you don't intend to be, I don't wanna be loved this way. I don't wanna be loved this way. I gave everything I had and more, and I got ashes in return, and I got ashes in return. So if your love means that I'm in tears and you are cold, I don't wanna be loved this way. I don't wanna be loved this way.
In the studio, Marcy Stonecipher. Again, I got that right. I was thinking about it. If I say Stone Clipper, then it gets people's attention, and then I make it correct. And
Right.
It keeps their attention.
Absolutely.
So it may be something I should do more of.
Maybe, yeah.
I may do that anyway.
You start calling me George, be like, wait, that's not George.
Well, you said in your, or you do say on your website very early on that your voice may be compared with that of Joni Mitchell, followed by Joan Baez. Now, I'm old enough to know live Joan Baez, not that I went to see her. I mean,
Right.
that's when she first was performing. Who
Do you
told
agree
you
with
that?
that? Well, the first time I ever heard, I heard Joni Mitchell more than Joan Baez, and I was in choir in middle school and high
Right.
school, and that's how I kind of got into music and took voice lessons through middle school and high school. And my voice teacher was actually the one that said, "You sound like Joni
Right.
Mitchell. You need to go get one of her CDs." So I got Blue, and that's an amazing CD. She's an amazing songwriter. And then Joan Baez, it's every once in a while people will tell me, oh, you kind of sound like Joan Baez. And the other ones I get occasionally are Natalie Merchant, someone that's newer. And then someone recently told me that I sort of sounded like Florence from Florence and the Machine, but I've only heard that once.
But not Alanis Morissette.
I have not heard that one.
I'm going to give you that one.
Awesome. I do I cover some of her songs when I do,
Shows, yeah.
So she's fun.
Because today you're doing live,
Yes.
and you're doing your own music.
Yes.
And obviously when you're out there performing in public, it's good to do a few covers because people are able to associate quickly with that.
Absolutely. So I always like to start out with a really recognizable cover. I like doing Jewel songs as well. She was a big inspiration when I first got started, just because, in the 90s when I was in high school, it was all these bands and it was sort of the punk grunge alternative, and I loved that stuff. But then she came on and I was like, hey, I can do that. So she was kind of a big deal in getting me started and wanting to play the guitar versus like the piano or whatever. So
you didn't start with the piano. Many people do.
I didn't. I could kind
That's
of
why you
dink
picked
around.
up the guitar. You said that and you started teaching yourself.
I did start teaching myself. So I begged my parents for, it might have been like a year. And my mom was like, So I don't know if
This
they were.
is when you had no money yourself, right?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was, at this time 13, and like, I really want a guitar. And they're like, whatever. And so I don't know if they thought that I would get one and not play
Right.
it. So I finally convinced my dad. So for my 14th birthday, we went to a music shop in Texas, and he got me a really awesome guitar.
Really
And,
nice.
we walked in, I had no idea how to play. And
Right.
they were like, well, what are you looking for? And he's like, she's a complete novice. Tell me something that's good. So we got a guitar, we got a book, and I read the book, and I basically just taught myself chords because what I wanted to do, I wanted to write songs, so it wasn't important to me to be very technical.
Right.
So my strength is in my writing and in my voice, not necessarily in my guitar playing. It's getting better, but
Right. No, I understand. And this is one of the things I like to hear on the show, because there hopefully are people listening
hope.
that have not yet started even, or are starting and struggling a little bit.
Yes.
Is to give them that inspiration to stick with it.
And don't stop. I went to the Avos open mic a couple weeks ago here, and there was a guy who had been there. I forget what his name was, but he had been playing for a little while, and it was the first time he'd ever done an open mic.
Right.
And he was like, "Oh, I messed up." I was like, "You know what? You got up there and you did it, and
Yep.
that's amazing.
That's
Just
the
don't
importance.
stop."
First step. Get
Yes.
there.
Because
and
there's
go back.
Yes, absolutely. Because especially with musicians in this area, they seem to be very, very supportive.
Okay.
And when you go for a first time or you're nervous, people just tend to be really supportive, and that's awesome for this area. That's in my experience anyway.
And I was going to say the audiences are very forgiving, both in terms of letting people be nervous,
Right.
but also forgiving if you miss a note on whatever it's called.
Yes.
I wouldn't know.
And I had that experience recently. I was playing at a venue and the light was low, and I was trying to read music, and
Right.
I couldn't see, and I kind of stopped, and so I called one of my friends, Paul, and I was like, "How bad was it?" Like, that was really terrible. And he was like, I noticed that you stopped. I mean, most people aren't staring you down, like
Correct.
listening to everything. They're
Correct.
eating or they're talking to their friends. And so it's, part of it is an attention thing that they're just not paying that much attention to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like
Which is good.
you have a judge out there or several
Right.
judges, and this is an audition, and
Right.
the rest of your career depends on it. Speaking of your career, what's next? Music-wise,
Okay. Yes, music-wise.
song-wise. Then we'll do what's next in your career.
Right. I don't know. I'll just tell you right now, I have no idea.
Okay.
But
We'll
we
come
can talk
back and
about
expand
it.
on that.
I'll try and think of something while I'm playing.
There you go.
So after Love This Way, I'm going to kind of do some songs in order because I think of songs in a linear term sometimes. So I wrote Love This Way, and then actually Distance to Empty was before that. Never mind, I'm lying. But anyway, Distance to Empty is a good song, for lack of a better word.
We've run down the miles, from here to there. Never catching up to anything. Caught in a roundabout. I'm running out, and I worry about the distance too empty. If you would just fill me up, it would do so much to say that you want me, well, be everything. Fill me up, 'cause I'm running close to empty. Love is so strange. There's no logic to be applied. But I'm so damn tired of being the only one who tries. If you would just feel me up, it would do so much to say that you want me, well, be everything. Fill me up, 'cause I'm running close to empty. Just be with me in this moment's love. Please, just please, don't forget me while I'm still here. If you would just fill me up, it would do so much to say that you want me, well, be everything. Fill me up, 'cause I'm running close, I'm running close. If you would just fill me up, it would do so much to say that you want me, well, be everything. Fill me up, 'cause I'm running close to empty. We've run down the miles, from here to there. Never catching up to anything.
We have in the studio Marcy Stonecipher. I'm the
Cipher.
host. Sorry?
Cipher.
Cipher. I did it again. That was just specially so you could say it.
Excellent. Well, you corrected me earlier on the CD name, so I can correct
Oh,
you
you
for
can
that.
correct me for sure. I'm the host, Philip, and behind me, back again, Drew. Thank you. A regular here on Live at Lunch. Does an excellent job, and we appreciate what you do back there, Drew.
You rock,
Yeah.
coming from a geologist.
Oh, that's right. You had to explain that. How am I going to do this cipher thing? You're intriguing. You're an enigma.
Ooh, I like this.
You've heard that one before?
No, I haven't.
That's the new one, right?
I feel special. Yes, absolutely.
Now, on your again on your webpage, which is your name, Marcy with a Y, Stonecipher.com, you say very early on, you say, I'm not going to tell you my bio until I tell you that I'm a silly person, or whatever the
I
word
am.
you use.
I am.
Yes. And you like to tell these really corny jokes. Did you bring one?
I love them. I have a couple, and one of my
No,
friends.
just one.
Okay.
We've
well,
got to do it.
Okay. So, this relates to the next song I'm going to play.
Oh, good.
What did the alien say to the gardener?
Less growing? No.
Take me to your weeder.
Oh, weeder. Okay. Yeah, they're okay because they make you think.
They do. And one of my friends is like, the only reason that these are funny to other people is because you get so excited about them. I play in a lot of venues where there's kids, so you have to keep it clean. And, you know, it's
excellent.
nice when they can get it. And
Do they? Do you find?
sometimes. Most of the times when there's kids around, they're the ones dancing, and
Okay.
that's so awesome. Like as a performer, and there's
Praises.
someone enjoying it, and normally it's the kids that are enjoying it the most. So I love playing in venues
Right.
where there's kids.
But I mean, if you're 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, you don't necessarily get the weeder.
Yeah, probably not. I mean,
Right.
there's other ones like, what does a shark eat with peanut butter?
Tell me, what does a shark eat with peanut butter?
Jellyfish.
Duh.
Duh.
on bread or toast?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's things like that they can get. I mean, they wouldn't necessarily get all of them,
Right.
but I try to keep it kid-friendly.
You said this was a segue too.
So there's a song I wrote called Deja Vu. It was inspired by picking tomatoes. It has nothing to do with tomatoes or vegetables or anything. It's just the fact that I had gone out and picked tomatoes and then ran back in and decided I needed more. And then I ran back out. I'm like, I just did this. Deja vu. Wait, that would be a good song. So sometimes inspiration can come from strange places.
Yeah, you should try potatoes next.
Yeah. I wonder what they could inspire.
It's a chip off the old block.
Right? Potatoes have eyes. It could be something about eyes.
Frying tonight, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Cooking tonight.
Yes. So, so this is Deja Vu.
Just wondering, do I know you from some other place and time, from somewhere where our lives intertwine? Do I know you from some other place and time, from somewhere? There is no step that is weak. It's the way your body moves, just makes sense to me. I've done this before. Would you come with me? Would you come with me? Do I know you from some other place and time, from somewhere where our lives intertwine? Do I know you from some other place and time, from somewhere where our lives intertwine? Do I know you? I don't recognize your face. Do I know you from some other time and place? From some other time and place.
It's Monday's Live at Lunch, and today we have a singer-songwriter, Marcy Stonecipher. Tomorrow we have something completely different, perhaps, because the name is Onion Freeman. On Wednesday, and I listened to the website on Mark with a C, Black, Mark Black. Alex, on Thursday, Alex Pastuhov. And on Friday, I'll be back with Nick O'Connor. So we have a mixed bag this week. I don't know all the genres, but of course Live at Lunch does do singer-songwriter all the way to, I used to say hip-hop, and I've heard we're not necessarily doing that, but I hosted hip-hop about 8 years ago and was quite surprised as an old guy how much I enjoyed it. I've been in with bluegrass, one of my other favorites, sometimes jazz, not very often, and I don't tend to come in to do the rock, the loud rock. I go back to the Beatles and just the Rolling Stones. They were pushing the envelope even back then. And they're still on stage. Did you read about that yesterday?
I didn't.
Yeah. Mick Jagger is on stage, what was it, age 72 or something?
That's amazing.
Yeah. They said he doesn't quite do all the jumping around anymore. But if you still got the voice, that's all we ask for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, we talked earlier about your voice. We can say that segue to where are you going career-wise, and you've had a chance to think about it subliminally. So you're going to be able to jump on it with...
Right. Okay. So I don't have a plan. And I feel like that's okay because
definitely.
Going through college, it's like, okay, or even when you're younger, you're high school, okay, you graduate, and then you go to college, and then you got to graduate, and then maybe you get a master's and you graduate, and then you do the things that, you get the house, and, maybe you get married, and there's these things that are set out, and if you don't hit those goals, you're like, oh no, I'm a terrible person, or, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of social...
That continues a long time.
Yeah, there's a lot of social anxiety wrapped up in the plan that everyone else does. So I feel like as long as I'm moving forward, which is...
Fair enough.
Booking more shows, maybe doing gigs 3 or 4 times a month versus just 1 or 2, doing radio shows with you guys, anything that's a step forward. I just want to move forward, and I don't know what that looks like. I don't want to box myself in and say I want to do this thing and only go for that thing, because there's other deviations that you can take that could potentially be great opportunities.
You've already said the things I learned about you off the website, and that is 2 to 3 times a month, and northern Colorado, mostly Loveland, and then you come up to Fort Collins. We're glad to see you here.
I'm glad to be here.
And we'll just mention that in a month's time, for those of you who haven't written the website down, you may hopefully remember the name Marcy Stonecipher, and then you put a comma at the end. And then you can find that on July the 26th, 6 till 9, Pulcinella's on Drake. Let's see, that's 119 West. Oh, is that the place just over the tracks? 119 West.
I think there's
Drake.
I don't know this. It's like Drake and Shields. Mount Everest Cafe is in that same. There's like a a pet store. I don't know. I played there once.
Okay.
I'm not too familiar with Fort Collins, but it's basically Drake and Shields. So I think there's a grocery store over on the other corner.
I wonder if 119 is right, because you know how they lay out the numbers. It's the 1,000 will be a Shields area, and the 100 is very close to college.
It might be 1,019 or something.
So you might want to check that.
I will. Well, I've had other typos on my website apparently, so I need to go with a fine-tooth comb.
Oh, I was working on the question. It's live from the living room.
Yes.
And on this website, until you change it, it's live from the living room.
Yep.
And I thought it would be nice to make your next one life form in the kitchen. Then you can type that one and have life from in the kitchen.
Yes.
And that would be funnier.
Yes, that probably would be.
So that's just an idea.
That's a good idea. It could be really good. And speaking of the CD, so it's my first CD. I'm so excited about it. I not only have it, I put it up to where it's available for download online, but I also have the lyrics. And a lot of people are at shows, they say, do you have it written down that I could read them? And I say, no, I don't. So now you can go, or it's available on my Bandcamp site that the songs can be clicked on and the lyrics are there. And if you're interested in reading the lyrics, or you heard something that sounded funny and you're like, did she really say that? I'm not sure. So they're all available for there to be looked at.
Yeah, I mean, that's fairly common in the good old days on the sleeve that you got the lyrics. Just to mention, the CD release party is this Friday in Loveland, something called the Ale Works, and we did that one. That's maybe why you got stuck on the 118, 119. It's 118 West 4th Street.
Yep.
Just over the tracks. Mm-hmm. We're on the other side of the tracks here.
On the west side of the tracks in Loveland. Right. And it's they have really great beer, and they're just great people just to go in, and it's a great venue, and I'm so looking forward. I'm so excited about sharing the music.
7:30 to 9:30, and you will be singing your heart out.
I will.
But you'll also be down there mingling with the huge crowd.
Of course. That's what you got to do. You got to mingle.
do you have do you know through signups and Facebooky things you're following?
I think I've got like 133 likes on Facebook, but I also have people tell me, oh, I went and listened to the stuff on your website, and they don't necessarily like a page or anything like that. So, I mean, I have an idea that, those are the people on Facebook. I know that there's probably a couple of handfuls of other people that are maybe following but not liking. Right. And then I've got a pretty good core group of people that'll come out and see the performances. Right. So, It's a small but the best following anyone could ever ask for. Everyone's been so supportive.
That's a good point. Right.
Yeah.
It's nice that happens. So would you again say a couple of encouraging words to people who are at the early stage? Go back to what was you 16 or when you got 14?
I was 14 when my dad bought me the guitar for
Right.
my birthday. So I didn't. All I knew is that I had it in me to
Yes.
write and sing songs.
Right.
So what I wanted to do was just learn some chords, and I
Mm.
just taught myself you don't have to spend money to get a world-class, instructor or anything. It might come later, but
Right.
all I got was a book. I just learned a couple of chords, and all I would do I'd pick like A and G, and I would go back and forth, and that's how I learned. And I spent a lot of time doing it, and I feel like when you're that age, you still have time to be bored, and you still have time to like really get into something that way. And just don't give up. There's always room for improvement, and especially when you start collaborating with people, you just learn different things. Information is
Yeah.
shared. It's generally so inspiring and encouraging just to even talk with other musicians.
Right.
Even if you're not playing together. I'm still nervous about playing with people because I feel like I'm not good enough, which is, that's my own perception. It's just...
Well,
that's-
let's just say you could grow better, and
Absolutely.
nobody's saying that you're going to be perfect first time out.
Right.
I realize this message not only should be going out to 14-year-olds, who may or might not be listening.
any age.
Any age, but also the parents.
Yes, absolutely.
Music is a very big part of my daughter's life, my life, your life. I wonder if there are people who are squashed.
Probably, and
early.
no one in my family was really musical. Like my parents didn't play, and my sister, I think she was in band. But I mean, so it was sort of weird for me to just be like, I want to do music,
Yeah.
and that wasn't really coming from anywhere.
Yeah.
So I mean, if your child is showing interest, why not try it? You can always rent an instrument.
True.
If you're
We
afraid of
started
spending the money
with
and them
that, yeah.
not going forward with it,
Right.
just rent one and have them try it, because it was such a good influence in my life and so centering for me to be able to turn to the guitar. I mean, it's been a therapist, a friend. I mean, music it's almost like its own life form in a way. So if you can encourage your child to do music, then that is amazing.
The other thing it's done for you is to get you on stage,
Yes.
which just means that you're more comfortable with the world.
Absolutely.
And we've had a good time together.
Absolutely.
So it's all part of learning to not just communicate, but do it in a way which makes sense to both parties. Mm-hmm. Which brings me to the point where I say thank you for coming to the studio. I've had a great time.
I'm glad.
I know you've had a great time.
Oh, absolutely. Do you see the smile on my face?
Yeah, it's been there the entire time. Mm-hmm. So we're going to let you introduce the songs, but probably have time for two more.
Okay.
Don't worry about stopping. We'll fade you if we have to. Just keep playing and singing.
Okay.
And I'll say goodbye.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. So I'm going to do two last songs for you. This one's more country. It's called Big Sky, and it's also on the CD.
I've got this heart that I follow, and it led me directly to you. And you're not here all alone.
So this next song I'm going to play, it's actually the most recent song I've written. It's not on the CD, but a lot of people have really liked it from the live gigs. And this is a song called Almost Free.
Sound of water and wind through the trees. I spent decades trying to be something I could never do. I was afraid of my own light, so I hid. And it's one part letting go of what I can't control, one part letting my soul sing, another part taking time to ease my racing mind, one part learning to trust in me. With these parts I'm almost free.
Thank you for listening to Live at Lunch on KRFC Fort Collins.
Live at Lunch airs 5 days a week, noon to 1, Monday through Friday.
Right here on 88.9 FM.
Live at Lunch is brought to you by FOCO MA,
The Fort Collins Musicians Association.
Dedicated to creating greater recognition of local talent in the Fort Collins music scene.
The association plans workshops, concerts, and events.
Information is available at focoma.org.
If you're interested in performing on Live at Lunch, fill out a submission form on our website
at krfcfm.org.
If you'd like to volunteer to help produce Live at Lunch, give us a call at 970-221-5075.
Thanks for listening to Live at Lunch, and stay tuned for more great music on KRFC.